Is Chinta somewhere to be found? Chinta? Okay, Chinta has to sit in front.
Yes, that's good.
Can we borrow a pen? Can you please have a seat for Mayor? Yes.
Oh, marvellous.
Please have that seat prepared for Mayor. Thank
There
you.
we are.
Two more chairs. Are they coming? They're coming. Okay. Two more chairs.
Yeah, there we are. Over here? Just over here.
Adrian, do you have a mic?
Yes, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Just here.
Okay.
Take the first.
Okay.
Chinta, you take here. Adrian?
No, very good.
Adrian, you can sit over there. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome, Adrian. You made it. Hello, Brian. Is there anybody else? Ah, yeah, yes. It's just after 9:30, so that's pretty good going. I thought we'd be about a few more minutes late.
Running late?
No, that's
We're in time.
good. I think, why not? This is, yep.
Yeah.
Everybody here?
There's a few more VIPs coming.
Are there? Are there more VIPs coming?
I think mostly.
Mostly
But
here.
we never ending stream anyway. People still be coming and to drop.
Yes, that's right. I think it will,
I think we get started.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you. Welcome all the not welcome, but thank you all the monastics. They are here already, so no need to welcome them, but they are already here. The NBM monastics of monks and nuns and the long-term residents here. Thank you for manning the fort and staying for the Vasa. May I quickly introduce the monastics here? We have Ajahn Isarna, who is a senior monk here, and then Ajahn Bodhichita, Bhante Arana Vihari, Ajahn Sadaro, Ajahn Morito, and Bhante Vipassako. And then on my right here we got Ayah Opeka here, and Ayah Sankapa, Ayah Sunata, this is Ayah Santa, and Sale.
Yanachari.
Yeah. Thank you all, and also I'm most welcome to Councillor is here.
Oh, Tessa, welcome. There we are. You've got a seat there.
Yeah.
You're near the heater, so that's not bad.
Yeah. And welcome to the councillors for Heavenshire. We have Councillor Brian Hood, who has been recently re-elected as the mayor of Heavenshire 2 years in a row. Congratulations, we are very pleased with that. And we have Councillor Tessa Holiday and Amy. Sorry. Welcome to our BSV Newbury robe offering ceremony, which we have once a year. And welcome to all of you for making this event and driving all the way here. So, for all your support too as well. So before we start with the ceremony, I'd like to officially acknowledge the Jajavurung as the traditional owners of the land waters on which we are now. We also acknowledge the neighboring traditional owners, the Wurundjeri of the southeast and the Wadawurrung of the southwest. We pay respect to all Aboriginal people, their cultures and law. We acknowledge their living cultures, their unique role and play in the life of this region. So the few housekeeping things we have to do. So we encourage people to wear masks if they wish to, and just for your own protections and the elders here. And we should start taking this is a quick rundown of the programs for today. We will start by taking 3 refuges and 5 precepts, and this will be followed by the reflections of the 2023 Rains Retreat from the NBM senior monks and nuns. And then after that, there will be a speech by Councillor Brian Hood, our mayor for Heavenshire. Then this will be followed by Ajahn Isaru, who will give a Dhamma talk, and followed by a short blessing by the monastic. After which, we all gather outside, there will be rice pinda pata, and the lunch, community lunch will serve at 11 o'clock. All people are welcome. At 12:30, we will have a rope offering processions around outside. But all those volunteers who will be carrying or joining the procession, please assemble at the entrance at 12 o'clock. Lunchtime, I will make the announcement by then. And now I'll make further announcement from there. We still need few volunteers to carry the flags and the fans. So I think we need about 4 fan carriers and a couple of children to carry the flags, and two more volunteers to carry the canopies. Please see Lai, who will be somewhere out there. If you don't know, just ask any of the committee members for Lai to register your names there. So I think I shall not take too much of your time. I shall pass on to Chinta to request for the 3 refuges and 5 precepts. This is Chinta, our previous committee members, and thank you, Chinta.
මයම් ආයේ තිසරණේන සහ පංචශීලානි යාචම්ම දුතියම්පි මයම් ආයේ තිසරණේන සහ පංචශීලානි යාචම්ම තතියම්පි මයම් ආයේ තිසරණේන සහ පංචශීලානි යාචම්ම.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. For those who do not know the Pali language, this is actually the request from Chinta on behalf of everyone here for the 3 refugees and the 5 precepts. So please repeat after me. Chinta will do the chanting on behalf of everyone, but if you know how to chant, please do join in. It will be done in Pali language. Yep. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Saranang gamananititang.
Aye.
Now for the 5 precepts, please repeat after me. For those on 8 precepts, you are already on 8 precepts, so you don't have to do this. But for those who are practicing the 5 precepts and continuing to do so, this is actually a reinforcement to practice the 5 precepts for peace, happiness, and also to have blessings to safeguard ourselves. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Surameraya Majapamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Surameraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And for the benefit of those who do not understand the language, the 5 precepts that most of us, or rather we encourage every one of us who want to call ourselves a Buddhist, or any one of us who wants peace and happiness in life, the 5 basic precepts of a human being, that is not to kill any sentient being, not to steal, not to have sexual misconduct, not to have wrong speech, and not to take intoxicating drinks and drugs. So these are the 5 precepts, and now we will invite everyone to join in the Pali recollection of the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Please chant. Okay, so together. Are you ready? Right. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vicca sharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manussanang buddho bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditthiko Akaliko Ehipassiko Opanaiko Pachattang Veditappo Vinyuhiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ujupatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Nyayapatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Samishipatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Yadidang Chattari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Pokala Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttarang Punyaketang Lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Ayah. May I now invite Councillor Brian Hood to give us a speech.
Thank you, Adrian. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Brian Hood, and I'm the Mayor of Hepburn Shire Council, and I'm very proud to be here today. Thanks to you, Adrian. I think this is my 4th visit, and it's wonderful to see so many familiar faces again. I too will begin by acknowledging the Dja Dja Wurrung as the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet today, and I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. I understand that Kathina is your robe offering ceremony that you hold at this time every year, and it's the second most important festival behind Vesak. I have been here before for this festival, and it's wonderful. As Mayor of the Shire, I get to travel right across the Shire from one end to the other, from Clunes and Creswick through Dalesford to over here to my home in Trentham, just up the road. And we have a number of wonderful festivals right across the Shire. And just to illustrate, in Clunes we celebrate Booktown and we celebrate books. In Trentham and Hepburn Springs we celebrate Chill Out and all of those, that wonderful section of our community. And over here in Trentham we have Spudfest and we celebrate the humble potato. Which all just goes to show that we have a very, very diverse community. And at Council, we celebrate diversity. We like to have a very inclusive community. And it's just really good to be here today to see this ceremony once again. Many of you would be aware that in recent weeks we had a tragedy in Dalesford, a very, very bad accident. And the one positive aspect that came out of that was the way that our community responded. And there was so much goodwill and compassion amongst people who responded and helped others in need. And I believe that reflects two of the principles of your religion in metta and dana, and we were terribly proud of how the community responded in that time of need. So there are a lot of learnings in that. People demonstrate those sorts of values in so many different ways. Many of us may not be Buddhist, but we do reflect a lot of the values that you hold near and dear. So without much further ado from me, thank you again for being here. My colleague, Councillor Tessa Halliday, is here with me again today, and we wish you all the best for a very successful festival. And Adrian, we're looking forward to that conference centre being open and completed. It's very big and it looks like it's taking shape very well, so we very much look forward to that being completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brian Hood. Yeah, one day the meditation center will be completed, hopefully sometime next year. Thank you. So I should now pass on to Ajahn Nisarono to give us a talk about Kathina.
That's right. This is just a reflection about the Kathina, the Rains retreat we've just had. But first of all, just to welcome everybody, and especially the councillors today, Brian Hood and Tessa Halliday. Very wonderful that you could come, because we are part of the community, and hopefully when the meditation centre is up and running, it will become more so, because definitely what meditation can offer to people in terms of mental health is wonderful. It's something we need a lot more of in today. So this is really excellent that we will have that resource soon. And just to mention that, of course, for us to have a Kathina, we need to have had 5 monastics that are fully ordained to spend the 3 months together. And in this year, there have been 5 monks who spent the arranged retreat together. We sometimes call it the Vasa or the Vasana. And so the 5 of us have spent 3 months together, and that qualifies us for having a range retreat, having a Kathina, which I'll speak more about later. And of course, Adrian has introduced all the monks, and we're very, very pleased that Ajahn Sada has come from the city centre. He does stay here quite often, but he's come from the city centre where he has been helping out in a very, very significant way for us, because his support has meant that most of the Sangha here, the monks and the nuns, have not been teaching during this 3-month meditation period. We're devoting our time to the meditation. I have been teaching, and Ajahn Sadhura has as well. But we've been very, very blessed, because we've had help from monks from another monastery, the Damsua Forest Monastery in Clonbenine. You mightn't have heard of that one. I don't think people have heard of Clonbenine, actually. And also we've had help from Venerable Tikfok Tan, and also there was another monk too, I think, who came during the Vassa. Oh, there was Venerable Chi Kwang Sunim. She's a Korean-trained Australian nun. So with their help, we were able to focus more on the meditation, on reflection, contemplation, and looking inwards. And this is what the Vassa is, the Range Retreat, is about. It's looking at looking within, at our real home. This is what Ajahn Chah called it, our real home, our minds, and developing our real home in a really positive way. Because if you want to be at home with yourself, you have to be on very good terms with yourself. You have to have good qualities there. And of course, if we don't have good qualities, who wants to be at home? They'll go anywhere out. So this Range Retreat is, of course, being at home with ourselves. And I liked, I saw a video of a Thich Nhat Hanh group, the Plum Village group, and behind the shrine they had, and I thought, beautiful saying, arrived at home. Now that is a great saying. That's exactly the what we want to encourage, that feeling of being so at home, at peace with ourselves, and having all these positive qualities. And of course, developing the wisdom to reflect on nature, the nature of life. What are the qualities of nature? They're always the same, actually. So this is what we have been doing during these 3 months. And as I say, we have also not been doing external work at the monastery. There's not much we do during the Vassa, except what's really required. And of course the Vassa, the Range Retreat, is a wonderful time for the support we get from so many people, from the Buddhist Society of Victoria, of course, and the committee, and all those that bring food and support the monastery, and who sponsor catered meals. That's a new innovation which has really been so helpful. It started during COVID, but now it's still going on. So, and of course, during the Vassa, we are limited in terms of travel too. We can only travel if there's some very important reason, and there's a number of reasons the Buddha allows. So during this Vassa, we all stayed here, except for me. I went to Perth for 6 days to farewell one of my brothers was passing away at the end of October. So I went there for 6 days, and it was a very good thing to do, to be there for them, and then came back before the 7th dawn, so I could keep the rules relating to the Range Retreat. So that was this is part of life, isn't it? It's always happening. And during the Range Retreat, in order to be more at home with ourselves, of course, we're having personal 2-week retreats we spend in our huts, and food is collected for us, and we come and pick it up from the central building in the monks area. And for those 2 weeks, we just focus on being at home with ourselves, focusing on the meditation, reflecting on life. So that's been really excellent. And of course, when we think of the Range Retreat, we think of all the thanks for all that support, the gratitude for making this possible, and particularly, number one, to the Buddha. Without him, there wouldn't be this Dhamma, there wouldn't be the Sangha. So this is a very, very important thing to remember. We have this opportunity, and it's rare, especially in Australia, this is to become a Buddhist monk, fully ordained Buddhist monk, or a fully ordained Buddhist nun. This is wonderful in this day and age. So, and also, as I mentioned, all the support we've received from the community as well. In terms of the food, the robes or the clothing we need, the accommodation, and of course medicines, that's very important. as well. These are the four, we call them the four necessities. The Buddha called them the four necessities. And all that wonderful support from the Buddhist Society of Victoria and the tech team too, the technology team that have made online programs much, much easier for us to have. So wonderful. So that's what I'd like to mention about the Rains Retreat this year. It was a very good Rains Retreat, a bit busier than I would have liked, but nevertheless, I had 2 months when I didn't go into the city, which was that's really pretty good. That's pretty good. And of course, it was a bit busier because now COVID is pretty much finished. During the COVID time, it was really quiet, really quiet. But so this is part of life. So that was the Rains Retreat 2023 for the monks Sangha, the monks community. So now I'll pass over to Aya Upeka, and she'll give a little summary, give you a feeling for what the Rains Retreat was like for the nuns community.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Thank you very much.
Well, you have explained what Rains Retreat is, so that already completes part of my supposedly short talk. Now, what I really wanted to mention today is, with the presence of the mayor and councillor here, a thought really arose in my mind when I saw three of you here. What have our presence in Newbury Buddhist Monastery presence and the monks and nuns presence here and our practitioners who are coming to support us here, what benefit have we given to not only the people within the monastery but also outside the monastery? Yeah, I think as a reflection in the area, I can safely say that hopefully with the presence of the monks and nuns and the practitioners of Newbury Buddhist Monastery, we hope that we are able to reach out to more people around us locally, not only from Melbourne, where we originally came from, but also the local people. I think we have succeeded in reaching out to people from Blackwood, Trentham, Dalesford, Wood End, Kyneton, and all that, coming to learn the teachings of the Lord Buddha, not because of it being a religion, but because it brings happiness and peace and direction and purpose to their life. We are so happy to notice that the people who come from various backgrounds, we are like a little United Nations here actually come here to learn the qualities of being a good human being. So I hope that with this kind of practices that we have, especially during the Rains Retreat, where we have our quiet moments to do reflection and to go deeper into our practice of meditation and contemplations and all that, I really hope that with all this that we're practicing and the teachings that we're giving, whether in here or in the city center and also online, and the people who are coming in from different directions to learn from us and to just experience what kind of lifestyle we're holding, I really hope that this in return will enable the mayor, the councillors, and the police, and all those services here to have less work, because I hope that with our influence, more people become holy people. Then you'll have a very easy job, mayor and councillors. Yeah,
That would be great.
No crimes. How beautiful! Yeah, so easy. So we really hope that, at least by teaching people to really embrace the 5 precepts. That's very basic. You know, when I went to hospital once because of food poisoning, I was asked by the doctors, do you drink? No. Do you take drugs? No. Do you have this thing? No. Do you have that thing? No. Then I was thinking, whoa, we are so pure. How nice if so many people can follow us. Then the police don't have to work so hard, hospital people don't have to work so hard, mental institutes don't have to work so hard. We'll have peace and happiness everywhere we go. And that is the reflection when I see the three of you seated here. Thank you so much for this opportunity to express that. Thank you.
There we are. And now I just give a brief talk about the Kathina. I know I've said quite a bit already about the Kathina, but to give a little bit more background to it, because of course people who are not from a traditional Buddhist background, they think, oh, what's the big deal with this Kathina ceremony, this robe offering ceremony? And of course it is in traditional Buddhist countries, it's incredible to see how much joy it generates for people and how much faith. It's very inspiring, you know, it's almost contagious when you see their joy at, you know, having a Kathina. And I know from spending 13 and a half years in Sri Lanka, I know people that go to 4 or 5 Kathinas, as many as they can go to. They can't get enough of them, I think. So it is so highly valued because it's an opportunity for the whole Buddhist community to come together. You know, this is offering and making good karma is one of the big aspects of this occasion. Of course, throughout our lives, every day, we have opportunities to make good karma. But this is one occasion where, you know, the whole community comes together and has this. It's also an appreciation, isn't it, for the Sangha and for the monks and the nuns and for the community that we have, the full Buddhist community, which of course is the fully ordained nuns, fully ordained monks, laymen and lay women. And so this is a day for bringing us all together, and by remembering, by having a celebration like this, we are keeping the tradition the Buddha laid down. He created this tradition more than 2,500 years ago, and of course that's still going on. And it's quite interesting that the history of this Kathina is something, the Rains Retreat at least, was something that was pre-Buddhist. Because in India, during the rainy season, not a good idea to travel because of the crops, damaging crops, also pretty difficult too. And in the early days, the monks and the nuns, monks particularly, were wandering around a lot. So for 3 months they had to stay put. And this was part of the reason that the Buddha also instigated the Rains Retreat. Obviously for meditation, obviously for the monks and the nuns to get to know the communities too, because if you're travelling, you don't have a lot of time. You just keep moving around. So this is where the Rains Retreat originated, and of course, as I mentioned, it's 3 months. This Rains Retreat from roughly July to October. This year, started in August because we have what we call a leap year, but that's a bit unusual. And it's a time, as I mentioned, you could think of it as a voluntary lockdown or a hibernation. People think, oh no, they must be crazy. And of course, the Kathina was instigated by the Buddha too. It's a very practical reason for it, because it marks the beginning of the robe making season, because the Kathina is actually where the community offers cloth to the monastic sangha to make a robe. If we've had 5 monks, then they can offer it to the monks and we'll make a robe. And if there were 5 fully ordained nuns, we've only got 4 this year, but next year maybe 5. I call it double Kathina. Double Kathina. So the exercise was really to kick off this robe making month with making one robe, and for the lay community to support that to happen. But the main focus was on the monks making this robe, and then this evening, for instance, we will actually we do it's like an official Sangha statement, we call it, where we choose the monk who will receive the robe that we are making this afternoon. And then that monk will take that robe and then will, as it were, they call it spreading the Kathina. We all rejoice in the fact that this robe has been made, the first robe has been made, and then we can spread the Kathina. Kathina is actually a word that is referring to a frame that they used to sew the robe on. And the advantage of these frames is that a number of monks or nuns could work around it at the same time. Because when you're hand sewing, no machines, when you're hand sewing, you need quite a bit of help to do it, and especially to do it in a day. because generally the robe is has to be offered to a monk or a nun, if the nuns are doing a robe, before dawn the next day. So that is the usual time frame for it. So this Kathina frame has been very useful. And this month, as I say, that's the first robe. But in the time of the Buddha, it wasn't like there were a lot of robes being offered, ready-made robes being offered. That wasn't the case. And so then the monks would be making their robes, helping each other to make more robes during that month. And in a way, I like this, Venerable Ajahn Brahm calls it like turning the monastery into a robe-making factory. And it's very practical because, then at the end of that month, mostly monks would go and start travelling. So they'd have their robes sorted out, their clothing sorted out for the rest of the year. So this is what the Kathina really focuses on. And that frame, we don't use a frame for sewing the robe anymore. I haven't actually ever seen a Kathina frame, but I'm sure there must be some sort of evidence or archaeological remains of one. We use a sewing machine, so this is much, much quicker. But traditionally, traditionally they would sew the robe, wash it, dye it, and get it ready for the next morning. So this is how this Kathina usually unfolds. And so it's an exercise in many traditional Buddhist countries, in Sri Lanka particularly. We have a tradition. It's a bit different. It's developed very differently from the time of the Buddha, because who makes the robe in Sri Lanka quite often? The lay people. And they love doing it. I've seen some of them do it, heard about some of them doing it here in Australia, in Melbourne, and they make the robe. But traditionally, it would be the monks or the nuns making the robes. But this is how things have developed in the meantime. But the essence, really, the really important part of the celebration, really, is the mutual support of the community, the lay community supporting the monastic community. And it's good, I always say, it's good to remember, where do monks and nuns come from? I keep saying, they don't come from the sky. They come from the lay community. And I often mention that I was a member of the lay community before I became a monk. I've now been a monk 26 years. I've had 26 vasas. And Venerable Vipassiko, he was a lay person here, the last monk. And I think some of the nuns, Ayya Sunyata, she was too. And I think Ayya Sankapa, no, I don't think she lived in Melbourne at that time. Yeah. So it's good to remember that. And what it is when we talk about mutual support, is that the lay community usually provides all the physical necessities, like the robes, the clothing, the food, the buildings, the dwellings, the huts, and also the medicines. And this is an incredible, when you look at this monastery, when you look at any Buddhist monastery, this is a real symbol of generosity. This is all from donations. This property was bought, this monastery developed, and everything that we have. And of course, because Buddhist monks and nuns, ideally, and particularly in the forest tradition, don't handle money. So we rely completely on the Buddhist lay community. The Buddha is really building in this total dependence between the two communities, really, two aspects of the community. It's one community. And of course, the Buddha, actually, he mentions, this is a lovely quote that I like, and he says that, he's talking to the monks, and he says, "This spiritual life is lived with mutual support for the purpose of crossing the flood and making a complete end of suffering." And that's for both both the lay community and for the monastics. But it's easier for us. And there's a nice little poem that goes with that. And he says, "The home dweller and the homeless, depending on each other, find success in the true teaching, the supreme sanctuary from the yoke." So it's a sutta called Very Helpful. We're very helpful to each other. And why the monastic sangha is very helpful in the sense it's giving teachings, it's giving advice sometimes when asked for, giving support. And this is particularly important, in terms of the teaching about the Buddha's teaching, about meditation. So this mutual support is really what's driven the Buddhism along through the centuries, now over 2,500 years. So that is incredible. It's that momentum of the mutual support that the monastic community gives to the lay community, and that support the lay community gives to the monastic community, keeping in mind that it's a fluid situation, and the lay community, some of them will become monastics. And so this is something that we are really celebrating today, this mutual support of each of the aspects of the Buddhist community. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And also, of course, the big thing we're celebrating today is giving and generosity. This is the essence of the relationship between the two, the monastic part of the community and the lay community. Lay community giving those physical things, right? And the monastic part of the community giving that spiritual gifts, giving their encouragement and support spiritually. So this is really the important thing about giving. Today is a day very much about giving, and that is one of the things that actually makes for happiness. And this is why giving is actually really so crucial for us as human beings, because it generates that happiness. And I often think for people, who are experiencing depression, for instance, being able to give can really lift them. It's not easy when you feel depressed. You feel like you have nothing to give and everything that you need. And of course, that makes it very difficult. But just to do something, to give, is a really important thing that can really change the mind and lift it up. And of course, we have in the Buddha's teaching, he has how we can use our generosity, our giving, to fuel our meditation practice. And he says, that when we reflect on our generosity, our kindness, whether it be through our actions of body, speech or mind, then we can develop inspiration. And he says from inspiration, then joy can come up. And from this joy, it's a very deep, this is not just a mild joy, this is a very deep joy. And this tranquility of the body and the mind can happen, where the mind is really peaceful, settled within itself, and the body is almost disappeared, not aware of it. And then from that, happiness arising in the mind. Happiness at letting go of the body, letting go of the negative qualities in the mind temporarily. And then the mind can come together and see things. Come together, this is one-pointedness, we call it. And then from that powerful, pure state of mind to see reality, see life as it truly is, and to really get a deep understanding of the nature of reality, which is always the same. It's always about change, about impermanence, that one cannot predict how things will unfold. It's always moving, and we cannot get things perfectly the way we want. We can't get them to stay that way. That's what human beings are looking forward to, getting permanent happiness, getting the situation to stay as it is. But nothing stays as it is because of impermanence. And then, of course, the Buddha mentions that this whole of this body and mind experience is not coming from a sense of self, even though For most people, we think, yeah, it's coming from me, and I and me. And of course, this is a big part of the problem of suffering, actually, because we take everything personally. But the Buddha mentions, and I think always good to reflect when we are thinking of giving, how to give and how to make that gift, that good karma really, even stronger. And this is something the Buddha really encouraged us to do. And there's one teaching where he talks about the good person's gift, sappurisa dana. And this is like a wise person, a good person, morally a good person. And he says they give out of faith, and they give respectfully, and they give a gift at the right time, and they give with a generous heart, and they give without regretting it or without having misgivings about it, because really when we give things, if we think, oh, was it the right thing, did I could have done better, we're really robbing our experience of giving of the full power that we can give to it. And of course, when we give out of faith, faith is that quality that values something, sees something as being worthwhile. And that's why today, of course, is giving to the Sangha, to the monks and the nuns, fully ordained monks and nuns. Giving, valuing the Sangha, valuing that the monks and the nuns. So this is something that can fuel giving if we have a really strong feeling that this is worthwhile, something valuable to do. So that is a very important one, and also giving respectfully. This is, people often want to be respected, and if we people do, don't they? Always want to be respected, but unless we are actually respectful to others, we will not receive respect. And this what this teaching talks about, actually. If we give respectfully, then the karmic result of it will be that people will listen to us, they will respect what we say. And this is an important thing. In this society today, we have the idea, if you want respect, you've got to earn it. You've got to prove it, and it's usually a lot of proof. But in actual fact, if we have this quality of respect for others, it's something that will bring up that quality in us too, and will attract respect too. Instead of you're looking for all the faults, we're very good at finding the faults. I think so. This respect is very important as well. And they give gifts at the right time, and of course the right time is, when it's needed, place and time, isn't it? Appropriate place and time. If, for instance, the Buddha mentions 5 actually, if someone is sick, then this is a time to give support. If someone's a monk has arrived or a nun's arrived in a new town, to give support, food, help in whatever way one can. If there's a famine and so forth. So all these, and of course today is Kathina. So this is the right time to offer. Of course we can offer at other times of the year too, but this is a particularly significant day. And of course, to give with a generous heart. Now that's wonderful, because when we give with a generous heart, we're being wholehearted, aren't we? And that is the best way to give. Because if we aren't wholehearted, then it's not going to have the maximum effect, karmic effect, of really something that we've put a lot of intention in. Because of course, today is all about, and all of our life is all about our intentions, isn't it? Our intentions to do things, whether they be good intentions or bad intentions. And of course, good intentions drive good karma. They will have good results either immediately sometimes or in the future, and sometimes in the future life. And of course, so this is what we're aiming to do. And one of those intentions is to have that generosity, to have that respect, and to have faith in the mind. And that will make the gift even stronger. So this generous heart, a very important thing to develop. And it's a happy heart. There's no problem with it. A generous person is usually a very happy person, actually. And a generous person, you'll notice they have lots of friends because people are attracted by that generosity. Some people would say, that's cupboard love, isn't it? But no, it's if they're really generous, genuinely generous, it's such a good state of mind for them to have, and others will be attracted by it. And as I said, the last one is really, not regretting or giving, not thinking could have done better, as it were, bringing a negative state of mind to it. Because often this is a trouble with giving. You see it, particularly at Christmas time and things like this, people think, oh, did I get the right gift for them? Is it the right colour? And, do they really need it? Well, who knows? Most people don't really. And so on. So this is something that undermines the giving. So those 5 things, very important to keep in mind: to give with faith, give with respect, and to give at the right time, and to give with a generous heart, and to give without regretting. Because when we do, then this will be make a strong impact on the mind. It'll have a strong intention behind it, and create good karma, create happiness here and now. So this is very important. And I have another 5. There's a couple of teachings of the Buddha, both together. For those who don't know, the Buddha's teachings are huge, huge. There are 5 collections of the teachings, and this one is from the numerically arranged, so the 1s, the 2s, the 2 things, the 3 things, 4 things, up to 11. And then there is the connected discourses. They have the same subject matter, and they're arranged together. And then we have the middle-length discourses, the long discourses. And then we have a miscellaneous collection, the minor collection, which is bigger than the rest because it keeps getting added to. But this one is another one of the 5 too. And I think this is very good too because it overlaps. And I'm emphasising giving today, actually, that one gives respectfully. We had that, and with reverence. That's another one. They give with their own hand. That's another one, and they give what is not discarded. They don't have any need of, and they give with a view that there are results of giving. So those 5 things are similar, they overlap with the previous one. This is a good person, actually, because giving respectfully, sometimes people can give very casually, can't they? And that's not good for them. It's not making much of an impression on their minds, actually. I often think, for me, you might think this is a bit strange, but I am, with giving, I am more happy for the person giving than what I am receiving. And sometimes I'm so moved by the way people give. They can just give so beautifully and so wholeheartedly. And they give with a lot of respect. And the second quality, with a lot of reverence, with a lot of consideration and thought about what they're doing. They're not just doing it casually, because it's expected or whatever. But really, can be quite stunning when you see people give so well. And giving with your own hand, very traditional. You see it in Sri Lanka. They would say, you see it here too. The parents say to the children, use both hands, use both hands. And the idea is, you are actually present, and you're using both hands and not just doing it casually with one hand idea. So this is something that it's really implying we do it personally, because that's where the biggest impact from giving happens, when we do it personally, when it's in a personal experience. And that's why giving with one's own hands is important too. And at the time of the Buddha, kings would even do it. They would offer the food. They wouldn't say to the servants, please serve the monks, please serve the nuns. They would do it themselves, because it was a heartfelt expression of giving, and that's what they would do it actually with their own hands, which is great. and they give what is not discarded. So oftentimes, it's got to be something we think is good, is value. We're not just giving it away because we don't need it anymore, thank you very much. We might as well pass it on, because it's not really valuing what we're giving. And so that's an important thing too. And also to have an idea, yes, everything I do with intention has results, and so does this giving too. And that's what today is about, the power of giving, and that the good karma that produces for happiness here and now, and also in the future, in this life and in future lives. So this is the important thing. And I'll just finish off with, of course, when we give and others receive, the natural response is to be thankful, to appreciate. And this is another key quality for today, actually, is that thankfulness. That appreciation is so important. Gratitude is one of the qualities that makes for a happy person, makes for a happy mind, and reduces a lot of all of the desires and the cravings, the wantings that we often have in the mind, which actually prevent us from being quite happy here and now, just enjoying the moment. Because we've got this list, I'll only be happy when I get this, that, and the list, as most of us know, never ends. Not until our dying day. It keeps going on. So as I mentioned before, just to be thankful for the Buddha's teaching, and to be thankful for the opportunity we have to have a monastery here to support, that we have a sangha here. I remember the days when the Buddhist Society would only have one monk or nun for some period of time, and then they would leave, and then there'd be a time when there was no monk or nun. And now we have 11 sangha here today, 5 nuns and 6 monks. That's wonderful. It's incredible. We're blessed to have that. And it's so important in our lives to have a spiritual dimension, a spiritual focus. Otherwise, the life becomes pretty arid, pretty meaningless, pointless, whatever that spiritual tradition be. Something that gives meaning, that focuses the mind on developing good qualities. This is our job. This is the job of any spiritual tradition. So this is the important thing, to have that gratitude in mind, to develop that quality, and it will enrich our hearts as well. And really, when we have gratitude, when we have thankfulness, it connects us with each other, actually. But the Buddha did say, it's rare to find a grateful person because we can take things for granted so easily, which is a shame, really. I always say to people, because people say, look, I did this for them, I did that for them, they didn't even say thank you. And I say, don't sabotage your own happiness. They missed out on the opportunity to be very grateful, happy, appreciative, thankful. Don't sabotage your happiness because of that. Because if we expect something back from others, of course we can be disappointed. And as I say, they missed the opportunity. So this is very much part of the today, really. And this today is also, as you see, working together. Isn't this a big part? We saw this for a Kathina like this to happen, a celebration like this to happen. So many people have worked together. I think the events coordinator, Lai, and his teams of volunteers, we have 3 parts of the Buddhist Society of Victoria. We have the general community, of course, and we have the young people, the kids, the Dhamma school, and we have the teens group, and then the City Zen group, the young adults. And so they are big-time volunteers here. So many people have to work together to make this happen. And that is a big part of the message, isn't it, really? And I think working together, no matter how it turns out in the end, it's not so important, the end result, but working together is is an important way to build our community. And I must say that Ajahn Sadhguru has done a lovely job with that, with the we have once a month we have a clean up, a tidy up. It's called Kalyana Mitta cleaners in our city centre. And it's an exercise in getting people involved and getting them to help in whatever way they can. Not so much with the end result we want that, you know, to look perfect or anything like that, but to build community, to let people connect with each other. And that's what today is about. And of course, it's not only working together for the lay community, we have to work together too, the Sangha. It's a very big, this is the original idea for the Buddha actually, was that the Sangha have to work together, collect cloth together, get enough cloth to make the Kathina robe, the first robe, and then to support making other robes and working together to make all these robes that were needed at that time. Of course, these days we tend to have more than enough robes, but there's plenty of other things to support with a monastery and a Buddhist society. So that gives you an idea of the Kathina ceremony today, the Kathina celebration. I prefer to call it a celebration for today, for 2023. And now I think the Sangha will give a short blessing. And then we have the alms round. This is the rice pindapata outside where people can put rice in each of the monks' and nuns' bowls. And the reason we do the short blessing now is because some people won't be here after lunch. That's just the way it is. And sometimes people are going to other Kathinas and things like that. So today there will be a number. I think Warburton's having theirs today. That's a very big monastery in East Warburton. They're very big. So now the Sangha will do that. I think that's what we're up to. Yeah. So I hope that talk on Kathina was interesting for you, useful for you. And now we will give that blessing, the short blessing for everyone. Before we go outside, and hopefully it's beautiful out there. What's it like? Not too bad. I was hoping that the high pressure system over WA would move quickly over this way, but I don't know that we want 37. So now the Sangha will do the short blessing. Sammarogamini muto samba sandha pavajito samba veramati kanto nibuto chatuang bhava sambitio vivajantu samba rogo vinasatu Mate bhavatwantarayo sukindingayuko bhava abhivadana silisa nityam buddha pacharino chattaro dhamma vadanti Ayuano sukhang balang ayurarogya sampati sangha sampati mevacha ato nibbana sampati iminate samijatu. May you abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may you maintain well-being in yourselves. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. Sadhu, 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 sadhu. which means well done, well done. So there we are, very well done. So good.
Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Ayah, for the chanting and blessing and the Dhamma talk. So that's the end of the formal session. So now it's the rice Pinabata. So so I think the monastery will stay put here for a while the lay community gather outside. Can we start with those people in the hall? Can you make your way to the outside circular area first, and then so that the people here can move out without getting too congested at the entrance?
And thank you again from our VIPs for coming
thank
today.
you,
And
councillors,
hopefully, if
for
you'd like to join
purpose.
in with the rice Pinapata and the meal, you're welcome. That's good.
Okay, can those visitors please in the dining hall make your way outside first, please?